Hi, this is Nahid, and today we're going to use neuroscience to show you how you can save time and energy by leveraging the power of routine. If you have a lot on your plate, you might get frustrated when you work really hard all day and you're completely exhausted at the end of the day. And then you look at your to-do list and it's even longer than it was at the beginning of the day. And this happens to tons of people because most people are very overworked these days and things happen every day that add even more to your plate. You might not think that something as simple as routines could make a significant impact on your day, but actually, just a few adjustments in becoming aware of what's automatic and then consciously turning some of those things into routines can save you tons of time and energy. Have you ever noticed how much easier it is to get things done when you have a checklist and you're very clear about what your next step is? There's just an additional ease to your day because you don't have to think, gosh, what should I do next? What's my next priority? Or what are all the things on my plate that have to get done? You have a list, you have an order, you check them off. As soon as you're done with one, you get that little hit of dopamine. You feel that sense of accomplishment, and then you move on to the next thing, and you know exactly what the next thing is. That saves tons of time and energy because you don't have to think, you don't have to make decisions, and you can feel good about the choices that you're making. Having routines not only make us more efficient, they can greatly reduce stress. And believe it or not, most of what's on your to-do list, even if it seems unique, can benefit from some automation. Did you know that many neuroscientists believe that upwards of 95% of your thoughts and behaviors every day are based on neural programming? We don't realize how much of our experience is automatic because once something becomes automatic, we don't think about it anymore. So the secret to leveraging the power of routine starts with shining the light on this automatic part of our lives that we're barely even aware of. Because if we can see it, we can leverage it. When I ask my classes to write a brainstorm list of the routines that they already have or what's automatic during the day, most people can think of the morning routine and the evening routine. Most of us have experienced how easy it is to keep exercising when you have a routine that you're in versus when you're all alone, just trying to get exercise in as you can and make decisions as you go. Routines can make a really big difference in business. I have a couple of clients that I've worked with that are micro business owners. So they provide service to clients. And one of the things that causes them so much stress is how to get invoices paid. So maybe most of their clients are good about paying invoices, but every once in a while they'll run into a customer that's a little bit slow or has a process that requires a lot of hoops, or maybe someone that doesn't pay very regularly. And they feel kind of powerless in the face of that. Plus, they want to keep the client. They want to keep a good relationship with the client. So they spend hours trying to figure out how to talk to the client about the unpaid invoice and whether they should, invest in going to collections or something like that. It turns out that just creating an accounts receivable process, thinking through it in advance, step by step, makes all the difference in the world. And it can all be nice and client affirming. For example, if the invoice hasn't been paid after a couple of weeks, you can send a kind email that says, hey, just wanted to check, make sure that you got this, right? And then if it hasn't been paid in 30 days, maybe there's another communication you send. But as long as you have the series of if-thens, and maybe it goes all the way to collections, or maybe you just stop service and you write off the money if it's not going to come. But you make the decisions in advance. Then when it happens, even if it only happens a couple of times, you don't waste all of that time trying to figure out what to do, trying to figure out how to maintain the client relationship will also address this very sensitive issue. So a routine can have that much power in terms of reducing stress, reducing all that time it takes to figure out, make a decision, word things right. You just flow through your process and it takes minutes instead of hours and days. And this doesn't only apply to work. Most of us have some real automatic patterns when it comes to our relationships. We have those typical fights that we get into or conflicts we get into in our close relationships, and they seem to follow the same pattern every single time. And we end up feeling the same way over and over again. But if you bring that to your awareness, if you shine the light on it, then you can create a different pattern for how to deal with some of the routine conflicts that you have. So the bottom line is that routines are way more powerful than we give them credit for. They not only save time by increasing efficiency, but they also conserve your mental and emotional energy by greatly reducing your stress. And your brain loves routines. Your brain uses 20% of your body's energy each day, and its number one priority is to be as efficient as possible by automating whatever it can so that when you need your mental energy to handle surprises or make important decisions or solve complex problems, you can. It does this by recording sequences of thoughts and behaviors into neural pathways. And any sequence that gets repeated gets ingrained. So the more you use it, the more ingrained it gets until it becomes automatic. And some things become so automatic that you do them without even thinking about it. You've probably had this experience with driving your car. So I like to think about neural pathways and how they work as a bunch of people walking in a big field in a snowstorm. And you think of every person kind of walking on a path that's a neural pathway. Now, if you want to go in the same direction as somebody else, does it make sense for you to forge a new path, or does it make better sense for you to walk in somebody else's tracks? That's exactly how the brain works. Your brain will always look for a trodden path. And sometimes the path is so trodden that, again, it takes no effort at all compared to the effort of lifting your legs up and trudging in the snow. So you can take advantage of this by learning what paths already exist for you. And I think that's the main thing that trip people up, is because most of the paths that are ingrained, we're not even aware they exist because they're in our subconscious and we don't think about them. But if you bring all of your automatic behavior to your consciousness, you can begin to leverage this by consciously adding things that you want to get done every day into existing automatic patterns. It works something like this. So you realize that you have a sequence. Maybe you have a thought, and that leads to another thought, which leads to a behavior. And this is something that you kind of do all the time without even thinking about it. It could be chores in the kitchen, washing the dishes, or something else. Once you're aware of that pattern and you want to add something new onto it, what you do is you find some place in the middle of that path to add the new behavior pattern. And in the beginning, it just takes a little bit of effort to go off on that detour. But because you're in the middle of a pattern that's so easy and automatic for you, then that amount of effort is so much less than the amount of effort it takes to create a brand new path or a brand new habit. And so this is how you can really leverage your automatic behavior and create routines for anything that even repeats sometimes in your life. There's so many things that you could use this for. Flossing your teeth at night, health routines like exercise, chores. And you may know about all these, but also think about things like journaling or thoughtful things that you want to write. Maybe you want to keep in touch with friends. Maybe you can establish some routines in your relationships to bring them closer. And at work, anything that's hard for you or that takes effort, difficult people that you have to deal with at work, giving presentations, having tough conversations with people you care about, solving complex problems. You can create routines for how you approach all of this. So the first step to getting the most out of routines is to write a list of how you currently automatically approach or handle situations. Try to draw out your neural sequence by capturing your automatic thoughts and behaviors. Might take some time to get clarity around this because most of it's so automatic we don't even think about it. But if you don't completely finish or bring everything to your awareness, that's okay. If you just get a few things down, then you can start right away designing better routines for yourself, capitalizing on the ones that you are aware of, like adding something on to your morning or evening routine, or adding something on in the middle of the day. We have a handout. The handout includes a lot of the main points that we've talked about today, and also has questions and exercises for you to work through to do this initial work of trying to think about your automatic behaviors and then figuring out what changes you want to make. And you can get this handout for free in our online learning center on the website. And there's a link to it in the description below if you're watching this on YouTube. And remember, if you'd like more videos, tools, and exercises, we'd love to have you subscribe to our channel. Enjoy.